All right, guys, we are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. Man, it's good to be back home. Good to be back in the studio with Hank the Bass Geek
What's up?
after being down at the Bassmaster Classic for a few extra days longer than we really wanted to be in 2022. But we are home, and that's the main thing. And everybody's recovering around here. So,
Good.
oh wait, I'm Brian Carter. If you guys don't really know who the heck I am, but Hank the Bass Geek, what's happening, brother?
Hey man, trying to get over a little head cold that has got me stopped up, coughing, sneezing, and all that stuff. Kept me off the water this week, which irritated me to death because this is the time of year that I want to be on the water every single day. Since the last time I talked to you, I had my second. Well, I didn't, but my daughter had her first child, my second granddaughter.
There you go.
So, man, we just continuing the grind, trying to keep things going, over on the Bass Geek over on YouTube and all the other social inner tubes out there. Man, just we're still pumping out stuff. Luckily, we keep a couple of videos in the bag. So in case I do get down and out, we got something to go on.
Yeah, play them rewinds.
Yeah. So
got a few in a hole. Like at the podcast world, I always watch, I listen to a lot of podcast guys, and it's like you'll always notice like something's wrong or vacation or holiday. There's a podcast, they call it a classic podcast.
Yeah.
So we're glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in the studio. Hope you guys checked out the 3 podcasts that I dropped. You guys know I don't write. I don't even want to write my name, to be honest. I hate to write that because it's always for a check. That's about it. But so we recorded 3 podcasts while we're down at the Bassmaster Classic. I've gotten some pretty good thumbs up on that so far. A lot of people are still catching up, but we want to get this ball back on track right here in the studio. So here we are. Guys, we're sorry we had to cancel our first event of the 2022 season. Actually, due to 2 things, really. Danielle being sick, and we, with her illness, and we canceled because of that. But then the weather sucked. I mean, I sat here and watched hail. Now, it wasn't a big hail, but I think it's probably about. It looked like that old shaved ice, about that size. It was coming down.
We ended up with 4 inches of snow, biggest snow of the year for us.
Wow.
So it was pretty interesting.
It's funny when we're sitting down at the Classic, our, you guys know that Facebook does that daggone thing where they stalk you and show you memories and crap like that. But like 5 years ago, we had like 5 or 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Yep. It was pretty weird because I actually went out. I think I fished Thursday, and then all of a sudden, Friday night, the weather coming. It was like 67 degrees. It was 67 degrees, and then like Saturday, it was like a high of 22. So,
yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing because the week of the Classic, I wore shorts all week in South Carolina, except for one day. I took 4 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants. Thank God for the extra clothes due to the extended stay. But so and then it cooled down in South Carolina, and that rain came through down there. So it was like 50s, and then it come on up here and we got the snow. So, and the sleet and the hail and all the other crap.
Oh yeah.
But we made it through it. This weekend's supposed to be nice. The basscast.com will be at Angler's Choice, stop number 1, Virginia, side on Smith Mountain Lake, going out of Parkway Marina. Had to take a moment to think about that. I heard they're expecting 100 to 150 boats. So hopefully we'll see some good 20+ pound bags. And if you haven't seen it already, Ben Hudson did a story, just a little recap of what he thought it was going to take for this weekend. It went up last night. Derek Hudson did a story as well, the hot bite. If you guys have not checked out the Hot Bite, you need to do so. Who's got the chips? And I'm not talking about the Pringles. That went up by Derek Hudson on the Hot Bite. And then a preview of the Angler's Choice Virginia Division stop number 1, Smith Mountain Lake by Ben Hudson. And guys, can I ask you to do me a favor? Tell Ben Hudson he needs to get his ass in gear and start writing more. He is a heck of a writer, and we really, really appreciate him. We just need him to write consistently. That's it. He's great. He really is. He's a good writer, young guy. Going to be around for quite a while. Him and his dad are big sticks on Smith Mountain Lake. We just need him to just keep writing. Don't think about it, just write.
Well, you got to think about it a little.
Yeah, think about it a little bit. You
wouldn't want to hear my stream of thought if I just wrote it out and didn't think about it. I'd probably be institutionalized.
There you go. That's his problem, though. I don't want to talk bad about him, and I ain't talking bad. He overthinks it. We need him to spit it out. This is no lie, guys. I've only had one other writer, and this dude could spit out a story in 30 minutes, typed, printed photos, and sent to me. I told him what I wanted, and he had it. I mean, he was like, good. I DM'd him the other day, and he never replied back. Probably something like, screw that dude. But he was amazing. Now he has 2 kids and a young family, so that's cool. So congratulations to him on that. But I ain't mention his name. But yeah, so also don't forget, let's talk fantasy fishing. It's now, as well as Bass Geeks podcast, we're across all networks now. For you guys who love fantasy fishing, it don't matter if you play at thebasscast.com or did you make your picks, Geek?
Oh, I did not make my picks.
I
cannot believe I forgot and let it slip.
It's all good. He's not feeling. He's been under the weather, guys. So we'll let it go slide. But
you'll probably hear me sniffle and hack a little bit as the night goes on.
It does not matter if you guys play fantasy fishing with thebasscast.com or Tackle Warehouse or any other place. Take a listen to Let's Talk Fantasy Fishing. We have guests on to play fantasy fishing with us. And last week, we had Mr. Kyle Jesse on, and we've had him on the show. Mm-hmm. We had him on the show last year, and it was a great show. And he has a lot to do with the fantasy fishing and Bassmaster. So we got his takes, his opinions, and hopefully we're going to get him on a whole lot more shows this year. And, hey, trying to help you guys make better picks. Hey, if you want to pick the opposite of me, that's cool. I mean, just letting you guys know, I'm in 7th right now in our group with a 94, almost 95 percentile. So I'm not doing it great today. I'm letting you guys know after day 1 of Bassmaster. So I'm done rumbling. Anything else with you, Basky?
As you can tell, just trying to recover.
Yeah.
Man. Just the biggest thing for me, I'm just ready to get out on the water, man. Yeah. Spent a day on the water last week, was going to go back out Monday when it warmed up and, got sick and had them pinpointed, man. Knew exactly where they were in their transition, where they were getting ready to move to. And, had to stay home, man. It sucks. I'm just ready to get out there and stick some hooks and some green and brown face, man.
All right, guys. Tonight we got an NPFL guest on. By the way, guys, if you're not following NPFL, make sure you do. I mean, it's it is another outlet of bass fishing. We all love bass fishing, and they've got an awesome setup. A lot of great things happening over there. And we got the first winner of the 2022 season, Mr. Taylor Watkins. He won on Lake Cumberland. Guys, if you didn't watch the event, it's supposed to have been a 3-day event, ended up being 1. They had bad weather, got canceled. It canceled. They fished the final day. He had a heck of a bag the final day. So, and by the way, it's his second victory. He won final event of the 2021 season on Grand Lake.
Yep.
So he picked up where he left off, boys and girls.
Momentum normally means more money in this.
More money. That's right.
That's right.
All right, guys. We'll be right back with Mr. Taylor Watkins. All right, guys. We are back with NPFL Pro, Mr. Taylor Watkins. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. I know absolutely nothing about you whatsoever other than what I read. So tell the fans out there a little bit about you, how you got fishing, where you're from, what made you start fishing, the whole 9 yards, man. Let's get a little bio about Mr. Taylor Watkins, man.
Yeah, I caught my first bass. I don't even remember it. I was so young. So
Wow.
my mom told me about it. But yeah, so I started fishing at a really young age. I grew up in North Alabama.
Okay.
I actually graduated from the same high school as Gerald Swindle. So
Oh.
that's kind of where I grew up. And
A decade later.
Yeah. And
or two.
Spent a lot of time on the Coosa River, spent a lot of time on Gunnersville, spent a lot of time on Smith Lake. And then whenever I was 25 years old, I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Ooh.
So moved from one fishing mecca to the next.
Yeah.
And spent, I guess, about 5 years here now or so, and get to fish Chickamauga, Watts Bar, Douglas, Norris, Cherokee, Dale Hollow. So I have really broadened my techniques and my skill set over the past 10 to 12 years for sure.
You were probably pretty sad after the cancellation of the Classic, weren't you? Or the championship?
Oh, the championship, yeah.
That's supposed to be in Tennessee.
Yeah, it was at Nickajack.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was upset because I was
Yeah.
coming off a win at Grand and had the momentum going, and I was excited for that one. I really thought I was going to be able to catch them good in that one. So yeah, I was pretty upset.
All right, go ahead.
So being from, living in Knoxville, which by the way, I'm very familiar with Knoxville. I'm about 2 hours from it. I fish up kind of my two home lakes are Cherokee and South Holston up in Northeast Tennessee. So I fish the grand trio of, South Holston, Cherokee, and Douglas. I fish Norris a lot too. Of course, come on down and fish Watts Bar and, the whole Tennessee River down there.
Yeah.
But had you been on Cumberland before? Because I know, I'd fished BFL mountain divisions, I fished Volunteer Mountain, and of course, fished Cumberland quite a bit.
I had never been to Cumberland just because of the simple fact of I've got all these Great Lakes. They're so close to me. So, drive 2 hours to Cumberland or drive 30 minutes to Watts Bar. That's not a hard decision.
No, it's not. I just was wondering if you'd ever fished any of the BFLs like the mountain division, because they hit Dale Hollow a couple times. So yeah. All right. So that's your first time. It was your first time ever on Cumberland?
Yep. No pre-practice, anything like that. Just
first 2 days canceled.
Showed up. Yep. So it kind of played into my hand. So it was a good tournament. I mean, I've seen those conditions before from fishing Cherokee and Douglas and Norris. I've seen them, do the same thing where we get those big rains. Mm-hmm. We get those same big rains here, and the water rises, and I kind of knew what to expect.
What do you think? You did find one stretch you pretty much sat in the whole entire event.
Yeah.
But what do you think made it different for you than for the rest of the anglers? I mean, other than the knowledge that you previously had.
100% water temperature.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 52 to 53 degrees. So I read a little bit of the press release here.
Yeah. Yep. So everybody else, even further out in the creek towards the main lake, there was 7 out of the top 10 of us that fished that exact same creek. And I think 5 of the other ones were closer to the mouth of the creek. And just a little bit closer to the mouth of that creek, it was actually 48 to 49 degrees. And then where I was 52, 53. And I did see it bump 54 one time.
Oh, wow. So let's talk.
That's pretty big.
That is pretty big.
Because
so
there were a lot of guys. I'm sorry, brother. There was a lot of guys kind of fishing that same sort of thing, the runoffs, Beck's Creeks, but they never could find that pattern, that same sort of temperature swing,
Yep.
So that's pretty impressive.
I want to back it up a little bit. NPFL, what made you, how did you decide to go into the NPFL? Were you one of the ones that were invited into the NPFL? How did this whole thing happen for you?
So I fished the Costas. I fished the Toyota Series for, I guess, 3 or 4 years. And I had mediocre success. I wouldn't say that I had great success, but I didn't do bad. Cashed some checks, had some top, 20s, top 15s, top 25s. And I had some really good opportunities to do really well in some of those tournaments, but things just never kind of fell my way. And the opportunity came up about NPFL, and I was, I reached out to Al McCullough whenever I heard about it, and initially got an invitation. Hey, we send us a resume, we'll look over it and everything, and I got an invitation. So this was like, I guess 2020.
Okay.
19. I guess it was late. I think it was 19.
Like late 19 is when I remember seeing everything going out.
So that's kind of wherever the ball started rolling for things. And then I got the invitation, and that's wherever things kind of got real. This is going to happen. How am I going to pay for this?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And so I really wrestled with it. I started trying to gather up sponsors and hitting the phones hard, hitting the emails hard. And as everybody in the fishing industry knows, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Nope. And I kind of struck out with the sponsor deal. And I had a family friend of ours that I had fished with a lot. And he told me finally, I was wrestling with it. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Do I do it? And he sat down one day and he said, listen, you got the rest of your life to work. You just will have something to work for. Just go for it. Put the money up and go for it. And so that's what I did. I went for it. And whenever I went to Lake Eufaula for the first tournament, I got down there for the first tournament and I said, boy, if I don't cut a check, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it back home. And
wow.
I mean, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
it felt that way, I like.
Oh yeah, that's what we want to hear. That's a whole lot of pressure right there. I mean,
it was a kind of a do or die thing. We got to get the ball rolling in the first 4 tournaments to make this thing happen. And I cut a $10,000 check at Eufaula. Then we went to Texas. I had a good event in Texas. Went to Florida. Had a good event there. And the ball just started rolling. And then initially at the end of the year, I ended up winning grand. And that was the cherry on top for a great season. So
what do you think changed from those from the past? I mean, what do you think has changed for you as an angler? As an angler going from 25th place to, actually winning your first ever big freaking event, carrying that 30-pound trophy. Because I picked it up the other day. If anybody saw my photo on Instagram, I was like, Soka let me hold one. He was really nice. Ain't no weight in the world I can hold 2 of them things. I can tell you that, my lord. But now you got 2. So I mean,
yeah. So
what do you think changed for you?
I honestly think simplicity. So I have really, over the past couple of years, really simplified my approach to tournament fishing. And I've got a core, I'd say 8 to 10 baits, and I try my best not to stray away from those. And they may change in the region of the country. So in Florida, it may change just a little bit, but I've got my core baits in Florida that I'm confident in. We've got my core baits throughout the country that I feel very confident in. And I go attack those fisheries with my confidence. And then if that's not working out during practice, I will revert back to some things that maybe I'm not so savvy with, but I'll scrape those tournaments together and cut a check.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, I couldn't really get anything going. I caught some fish on a Ned rig. I hate throwing a Ned rig.
Right.
I caught some fish on a tube. I had never smallmouth fished at all. That whole ordeal dried up on me. I picked up my confidence flipping baits, and I went up the river and scrapped up a check. I mean, I just salvaged the event. And so I really think that those are the kind of things that I have changed over the past couple of years.
If you were to put 3 rods on top of the boat right now, what would be tied on just those 3?
A jig, a
flipping.
Yep, a jig, a beaver, and a spinnerbait.
There you go.
Basically
2 flipping baits in one.
Pretty much so.
Well, a jig. So the thing with the jig is you can drag a jig, you can flip a jig, you can swim a jig. It's so versatile, and that's the reason for the jig.
That's what I tell people all the time. Everybody asks me, they're like, what, same question. What is it that you like? And my number one, because I fish a lot of clear water up here in Northeast Tennessee, it's going to be a swim bait of some sort. You can fish it from top to bottom. Same way with the jig. The second is going to be a jig. You can fish it from top to bottom. You can swim it, you can bounce it, you can drag it. About the only thing you can't do is fish it on top water. I've been trying. So, and in tournament fishing, I mean, that means everything, especially during practice. And it's the same way with a spinnerbait. You said your third was a spinnerbait. That's a really diverse bait too, based on watercolor, blade color, skirt, skirt color, and blade shape. That's size, a bait that you can, size, weight. I know, again, being from Douglas, I fish those ounce to almost 2 ounces, down in 40 foot of water, so, it's and that's something, you said, about simplifying things, having those few baits that, you have confidence in. When you're traveling, you can't take the whole arsenal. You can't take every single bait and every single color that, you might have. So that's something that you have to do. You have to kind of narrow it down.
You can take them. You can take them, but but you only got 3 days. You've only got a limited amount of time. You can't, it's hard to get through all of those things, especially if you don't have confidence. If you're fishing a bait that you don't have confidence in, you could fish the winning area and not find those fish. If you're flip or every pitch, I'm going to get bit on this. I'm going to get bit on this. Well, you're not going to miss that bite or miss that window because you're not doing the technique correct.
Yeah.
I think we dropped you there for a second, but so the momentum kept on rolling from Grand Lake into stop number 1 of the 2022 season on Lake Cumberland. Like you said, you never practiced, never been there before, but you had a good idea what you're looking at when you showed up. Mentally, we always bring this up. Mentally, day 1 got canceled, day 2 got canceled. You're just sitting around, kind of just chilling, doing tying, whatever you got to do. How did that, did that bother you at all? Or, were you
so I played it a little bit different. So we were only 2 hours from home. So whenever it was canceled and I knew it was going to be canceled, I didn't pack everything up, but I just grabbed a little bag and took off to the house. And me and my wife came back home and we stayed here and relaxed. And I was at home and it helped relax. I went to Bass Boat Electronics and swapped out a trolling motor. I was having not really big issues, but just one little thing happened during practice and it just kind of scared me. And I said, hey, this is a great opportunity. There's no sense in chancing it. I've got 2 days. Let's go get this bug figured out. And so I took that time. I went and spent that time, went to Bass Boat Electronics, swapped that trolling motor out. We spent the night here, 2 nights here. And, and it was nice. I just, kind of sat back, relaxed, let my mind, not drift away from it, but just be relaxed. I wasn't cooped up in a camper or cooped up in a house or, anything like that. Yeah. So
because I know a lot of anglers probably been cooped up in a cabin, a house, or like a past friend of mine stayed. He had a truck with a bed in the back of the truck and all the baits underneath that. And he won a Forest Wood Cup. So, I mean, people don't understand it ain't always sunny out there. I can tell you that. I've seen both sides of it.
Yep, that's right.
Well, let's roll into the event. Like I said, 23.6 was the whopping weight for one day. I mean, you pretty much crushed the daggone field.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the key baits that made an impact in this win, man.
I got one of them right here.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah, that's it right there.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's a covert Bouillon covert spinnerbait with the Hildebrandt number 6 gold blade and the orange kicker on it, 3/4 ounce, and just a straight tail zoom trailer. Just, not a lot of action. The water was cold. Just that's kind of my setup whenever that water's in that 48 to 55, 56 range.
Right.
And then after that, I'll kind of start changing up. But that, and then I did throw this one right here. This is a War Eagle right here.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I got in the little bit cleaner water, it wasn't clear, but definitely cleaner. I picked this one up, and I caught keepers on the War Eagle. I ended up finishing my limit out. I caught one good one on the big spinnerbait. Then I finished out my limit with the War Eagle, and then I culled two or three times. And then initially I kind of got back into the area where the bigger fish were and where those bigger fish were pulling up and feeding, and that's where I caught the bigger ones on that bigger blade.
Heck yeah. Go ahead, B.
So backing up just a little bit though in practice. So I know even the days of practice were, hit or miss, a lot of junk in the water, the rain was coming in. How much practice did you actually get? And did you find, because I know this creek real well that you were in. I've seen it. When I seen the video of you in it, I was like, huh. I know that creek. I was like, I've been there. So so did you find that, in practice, or was it something that you knew going in that you were that bag was there?
Yeah. So before pre-tournament, I really thought this tournament would be won on the, down by the dam.
Yeah.
And so first day of practice, I put in Conley Bottoms, mid-lake, and I went from mid-lake down towards the dam. First day of practice, I caught one spotted bass that was 12 inches long. And I mean, that was it. That was the only bite I got. Day 2 of practice, I decided I was going to spend a little bit of time up around Burnside. Mm-hmm. And I fished around up there for a couple hours. Then I went into Pittman Creek, and I got in there.
I wasn't going to say the name.
Well, everybody already knows.
Everybody already knows.
It's not a secret. And so I first cast was spinnerbait. That exact spinnerbait, I caught a 2 3/4. Cruised down the bank, turned the trolling on high, cruised down the bank a couple hundred yards, picked up a crankbait, threw a crankbait, probably 10 casts, caught another one about 2. Sat down, cranked the motor up, idled, found a good little, channel swing bank, pulled up on it, picked crankbait back up, and I got another bite. And so then I decided, I'm done. I got 3 bites in this one creek, and this is definitely a productive area. So I literally idled the entire creek. I just idled it all the way to the back. I never got on pad. I just idled, and I just mentally marked things. That's a good rock stretch. That's a good run in. There's a run in there. That's a bluff. There's a transition here. There's a shelf there, and I would mark a couple of things on my graph. And then, I also wanted to know where the run-ins were, where the water was going to be running in. I mean, we were all watching the weather. We knew it was going to be raining. And so I come out day 2 of practice. I'm still convinced that the tournament's going to be won down by the dam. So I go spend a whole another day of practice down by the dam. I caught one short smallmouth. So, I mean, really, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I mean, I could have went down there and hoped and prayed, or, hey, I got 3 bites in this creek. fairly quickly within an hour. So I made up my mind. I said, I'm going there. I need to get one bite. I need to catch one fish. If I catch 2 fish, I'll get a check.
Right.
So that was kind of my game plan going into it, was just get a bite. I thought surely there's 1 or 2 fish that pulled up with this water. The water rose 15 feet.
Yeah.
From practice to tournament. And so I thought surely there'll be 1 or 2 fish at least pull up that I might can catch and just get out of here. Just get out of here and call it good and move on to the next one. And boy, it was the day just kind of transpired. I got the first bite. It was a 3-pounder, got another bite, another one. And then before I knew it, I was culling. And then I'm kind of thinking to myself, hey, we got a chance. I need a big one. And then I caught a 5-pounder.
Wow.
Wow, this is we're on the right track. Then I caught another 5-pounder, and then I caught another one about 4 3/4. And then I sat down at the bottom of the boat and I go to cull. I caught one to cull and I pulled out my cull and it was 3 1/2, 3 3/4. And I'm like, I just need to go back to the boat ramp. I'm pretty sure I got this one won.
Yeah.
It's time to go back and get dry.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, that 23 pounds on that lake, I mean, I hope you know how impressive that bag was.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not a lake where you pull 23 pounds. It's not a lake where you see a lot of 20-pound bags.
Yeah.
And so I know I've got a lot of friends from up around there that live on that lake, and it was some big chatter from big sticks that live
not too many people know this either. I broke one big one off too. I probably could have had 25.
Holy crap.
Wow. You was talking about being from Chick, a 23-pound bag would be like a 40
upper 30s. Yeah. 40.
Yeah. Would be like that 42-pound bag down there.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
It's
that's awesome.
It's probably not as near as common. It's probably not as near as common as maybe a 40-pound bag on Chick. Yeah. So, it's
I was just super blessed. Yeah, I was just super blessed to I just, I found the area that they were pulling up to. I had it all to myself. And
you had the whole daggone thing to yourself, man. I mean, I was watching live. I mean, I watched it half the freaking day, and then I think I went and covered a tournament, but I was watching. I was like,
there was some fish biting in the area that I practiced. The area that I practiced was closer to the mouth of the creek. And like I said, there was 7 out of the top 10 in that creek. Well, those fish biting in the front part of the creek kept all those guys occupied. And I had made my way a little further back and actually found where the bigger fish were pulling up. And not to say that the bigger fish were pulling up, but there was also 6 other guys fishing the same merry-go-round. If it would have been one dude down there fishing that same stretches and he had it all to himself, he probably could have competed with me. But I just so happened to have that stretch there all to myself and was able to capitalize on it.
Now, I read that, most of your fish come off a bluff. Some of your fish come off a bluff where you're larger, the 5-pounders. What were you catching there on bluff as well? Was there something particular about it?
Yeah, I got a video on that I've posted on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. You can go back and watch it. But I mean, it's spectacular, beautiful place. And the water was running off of this bluff into the lake and making a waterfall. Oh. And the bluff would come down. It came down to about 7 or 8 foot of water. And I was using active target, Bass Boat Electronics, and the bluff actually made a shelf, and the shelf was probably, it stuck out 2 or 3 feet. It wasn't huge. It was, just a good little shelf. And I just imagined it to be like a dinner plate. And those fish, they would just pull up and sit on that little shelf. And that little shelf at one little place, it come up and just made a little point. And those fish were sitting right there. The bigger ones were sitting right there on that point. They were scattered up and down, but I caught the 2 biggest ones on that specific cast. So I would just work that area. I came through in the morning. I actually broke that one off, and I knew it was a really good fish. And then right after that, I caught a 3-pounder. Well, then I just kind of made my way on through it and went further back into the creek. and I worked my way back, a couple hours later, and I thought to myself, I need to check that place again. So I eased back into it. I made the exact same cast. I caught the 3-pounder, I caught the 5, and then that's whenever it all clicked. I was like, this is the spot. This is where they're at. And so I would leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes, come back, and I would catch another fish. And I'd leave it for 10 or 15 minutes, come back, and I'd catch another fish. And they wouldn't all be in the exact same spot,
Right,
but they were
right.
all in that same 20-yard stretch. And they were just reloading. They were, reloading up. And it was just a special day.
Well, brother, congratulations to you.
Yeah.
You got 2 of those trophies. You are in the same boat, same genre, whatever you want to call it, NPFL, as one of our co-hosts, Mr. John Sokol.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's what we call him. Our third co-host, Mr. John Sokol.
Yeah.
He so we were at the Classic, and John was like, "You realize that there's been 7 tournaments and we own 4 of them?"
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
talking to
pretty
John on the way. I was talking to John on the way home. He was on his way back to Oklahoma after that tournament. And I was like, he's like, man, he's like at that place. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really want to tell you before you went because you was all geared up. I said, but I'm not a huge fan of that place.
Yeah.
I said it's normally not a happy place for me. I'm like, there's a lot of people that love it. I mean, there's good fishing in it. Don't get me wrong. But man, he can turn on you in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
so,
it was one of those. It was definitely tough, and I really think there was a couple of guys had figured some stuff out before the rain came, and that rain really messed them up really
Washed
bad.
it all away.
Everybody was kind of saying. I'm not saying sandbagging, but there was probably 8 or 10 guys that had figured something out. And the rain, it just messed them all up. 15 feet of water on top of those fish's head is a lot.
All right, let's roll on. Let's talk about this, man. You said you were at the Classic. There's a little Lake Hartwell. Did you go out there and how were you able to hit the water?
So
are you able to hit the water? That's a good question. I forget how the rules go on this thing.
Yeah, we're off limits now, I believe. I think.
Okay.
But we could have whenever the Classic was there, but I opted not to. I decided, and I voiced my opinion a little bit on our angler page, and I said, dude, guys, how would you feel if you were out there fishing the Classic and somebody, don't do that? And it's so many acres and blah 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 blah, and I'm not going to change the outcome of the tournament. And I just, man, I hadn't pre-practiced Cumberland. I hadn't pre-practiced, I pre-practiced one time last year, and that was Pickwick. And that was because I could pre-practice in June. The tournament was in July, and all we were going to do was be out there graphing. I mean, nothing was going to change. And so I just opted not to pre-practice. And
all right. Whose phone is that?
1 second. Yes, my wife's. Hold on.
All right, so stop number 1 is in the books. We got a lot more left to go in 2022. If there's one lake that you would like to, that you think that you could put number 3 in the trophy case. You can't put them damn things in a trophy case. I don't know where you put them.
There's
none of that cardboard. You're gonna have to build a wood.
You ain't getting nothing from Kia or whatever.
No, you ain't getting nothing from Kia's gonna hold them things in there. I can tell you that right now.
I took them to work and I put them on my boss's desk. He said, "Son, we're gonna have to reinforce this desk. You keep bringing these things in."
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So if there's another stop on a 2022 schedule that you think, hey, Mr. Watkins can win this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and knock on some wood right here.
Okay.
All right. We're coming to my backyard. We're coming to Watts Bar.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I am looking forward to it. It's going to be a hard one to win because the fish are going to be on the move. That tournament was scheduled for July, and that would have set up better for me to have a chance to win. Okay. Because I would have known where the fish were going to be set up that time of year. Going in late May, they're going to be moving from, they're going to be postponed. There's going to be a bunch of fish moving out. There's going to be a lot going on, but it is going to be a fun tournament. If you have not watched NPFL, that one will be one to watch, because you're going to have guys out deep cranking. You're going to have guys out, doing the offshore thing. You're going to have guys halfway in fishing points. You're going to have guys up dirt shallow throwing a frog, swimming a jig. It's going to be anybody's game. And then, I'm really looking forward to that one just because it is in my backyard. But I've never been up north. I've never been to Saginaw Bay. I've never been to Sandusky Bay.
Yep.
And I'm excited for that, just for the pure fact of I like catching dumb ones. So hopefully there's a bunch of dumb ones around.
There's a bunch of big. From what I've heard, there's a bunch of big dumb ones up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I mean, I might get my butt kicked up there, but I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to go out there on some big water. I just got a new boat. I just got a new Camus 21 footer, and nice. I want to get out there and see what that thing's made of, and awesome. and try and learn that stuff a little bit. So yeah. And we're going to Florida in the fall. In November.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because usually it's the reverse for Florida.
Yeah,
and for you guys going, and guys, by the way, that event is October 30th through November the 5th.
It's going to be an interesting event right there.
It is, and I don't know what to expect. I mean, I'm thinking that it's going to be like a pre-spawn tournament. From what I'm gathering, I'm just thinking, we can't get information, but I'm just thinking out loud here to myself, is those fish spawn in December, January? So are they, that's going to be a pre-spawn tournament, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to
go back and look at Bassmaster a couple of years ago, and the schedule got all jacked up due to COVID.
Yeah. I have to go back and watch some of that. So
yeah, because that was pretty, to be honest, this is going to be great, because this is something I love, and having those later fall events. Yeah. And, it's like when football ends, we got 5 Bassmaster 7, 8, and then, it's done in like 4 months or 3 months, because they knock them all out. And like, dang, that sucks. What are we going to do the rest of the year?
Yeah.
So you guys make sure you head on over and follow the National Professional Fishing League. And make sure you watch all the lives. They do a great job. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, Bassmaster's been around forever. 52 Bassmaster Classics. That's what it was. Yeah. And NPFL is the new boys on the block, but they picked up where they left off, and they took a bunch of notes.
Yeah. It's good stuff. If you like learning about fishing, that's it. Watch live. And these guys are spilling the beans. We've got Keith Carson, we got John Sukup. These guys are out there every day. They're out there spilling the beans on all this good stuff. So y'all tune in and catch up on
this
some
new
of
guy right here too, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Patrick Walters right there.
Yeah, we got a rookie on the NPFL.
You got some Brad Knight, Forest Cup winner. So
you've got all these guys that, and they're going to be on camera. They're going to be up there on live. So yeah, y'all tune in and watch. It's Luke, Duncan, and Fat Cat put on a good show. You'll probably get a good laugh every now and then. So
you will.
Yeah, y'all go check it out.
Fat Cat looking slim, guys. He looked great at the Bassmaster Classic. Just FYI.
Skinny Cat.
Skinny Cat. Yeah. That's what we called him. Skinny Cat. I got 2 questions really for you. After the end of last year, we're going to wrap it up with this. After the end of last year, the Council and the Classic, a lot of guys exited. We know that. A lot of guys, I've followed a bunch of them. We interviewed a couple of them that actually are fishing the Pro Series for Major League Fishing. What made you say, I think I'm home, I want to stay?
Whenever I found out that it was canceled, I was upset. I had invested my time, I had invested my money, and I was upset. And then I sat back and thought about it, and I thought I put myself in the ownership shoes. Mm-hmm. And this is a new business. It is what it is. Every company goes through hardships. If you start a new business and you say, well, year 1, I did great and I cleared whatever, and that you're a liar.
Yeah.
You can't, it is a business, and they made business decisions, and some of those business decisions maybe weren't exactly the right ones for that time. They learned from those decisions. They took a step back and said, okay, guys, we have overshot our coverage here. We're going to back up. We're going to halt things for a second. Let's reset and go again at it. And that's what they did. And I talked personally to those guys, and really and truly what went through my mind was, well, A, you're going to have to go fish the opens, or B, you're going to have to go fish the Costas or Toyotas, whatever it is now.
Series, yeah.
And then I thought about having a co-angler in the back of my boat, and I almost threw up in my mouth. And so, yeah, that, you know, and I was in, if it was still there, I did everything I possibly could for the ownership group to make sure that we were able to fish another year. So,
all right, you got another question, Geek, or not?
Yeah, my question to you, number one, and it's about the tournament. So what do you think if they hadn't put it down to a 1-day shootout? What do you think your final total would have been?
So I thought about this, and I don't know how much company I would have had, because there was several guys that knew where I was and knew what I was doing. I've also got a travel partner that travels with me, and me and him practiced this area together. And he actually went to the dam. He bailed on me that morning and went to the dam. And so
I know
you look at him though, and you say, no, you don't come back up here.
I couldn't do that. So I would have I would have probably went in and caught what I needed. Way
nicer than me.
Well, I would probably went and caught what I needed, and then let him do his thing too. And I don't know. I think I could have went back and caught an easy 13 pounds again. That's being modest, but there was definitely plenty of fish there. Wow. I had 2 other places that I could go catch a limit fairly quickly, fairly easily, for 10 to 12 pounds. Wow. And so I think I could have had another 15, probably 15 to 16, I would say, pretty easy.
Gotcha.
You got any question, Britt?
That's it, man. That's my last one.
All right. And the last one, as always, what was your biggest takeaway from this event? What did you learn from Lake Cumberland that would help you throughout the rest of 2022?
That's a hard question, because you don't learn from the ones that you win. You learn from the ones that you get beat.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing. I would say the biggest thing is just follow your gut. Okay. So whenever I pulled in that morning, I was 4th flight, and there was competitors where I wanted to be. I stopped, I fished for 15 minutes, and I just wasn't comfortable. I had that feeling, I wasn't comfortable. I didn't like fishing behind these guys. Like I said, I thought that I was going to need 1 bite or 2 bites. I thought that's the kind of day that it was going to be, was a 1 bite, 2 bite kind of day. Right. I did not want to put myself behind anybody. I didn't want to be fishing behind anybody. I wanted to keep clean water in front of me. And so in order to do that, I had to make a move, even though that was the area that I got those bites. Right. And I had the most confidence, but my gut was just telling me, you need to move. You need to move on somewhere else. So that, I guess it's more of a reassuring thing, because I did that a lot last year. And that's just a reassuring thing. Just follow those instincts. You've spent time on the water. You know what you need to be doing inside. Just listen to it.
There you go. Guys, want to thank Mr. Taylor Watkins for coming on with us tonight and talking to us. Before you leave, brother, anyone out there you'd like to thank? Sponsors, Instagram channels, anywhere they can go follow you, et cetera, et cetera. That way they can watch you throughout the rest of 2022.
Yeah, y'all go catch that video. It's a pretty sweet video. It's yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So TDW Fishing, that's on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And then of course Bass Boat Electronics. Bass Boat Electronics is right down the road from you, or they're here in Knoxville, and they've got all your electronic setups. If you get on the website and it says it's in stock, it's going to ship out the next day. It's not one of these go online and order and, oh, well, your order will be here in 9 weeks. It's not one of those deals. It's if it's in stock, it says it's in stock. They're shipping it out from their place that day or the next day. If you need any questions, they've got, a service that you can call and ask any questions that you want to ask. They can answer them for you. If you need help rigging, they're rigging. If you buy electronics from it, it doesn't matter if you buy them from them or not. They will actually rig them for you and do it right. They're going to put the right gauge wire in, do all the things right.
That's awesome.
And so another sponsor of mine is Baitworks. Baitworks is a online tackle store. If you order baits online, go to baitworks.com, give them a check out. They're coming up, they're adding stuff every single day. If there is something that you're looking for that they don't have, shoot them an email, shoot them a message. They are open ears right now. They told me to go to my tackle box in my boat, open up every compartment. If they don't have something that I have, they wanted me to write out a list, and they're going to add it to the website. So yeah, so
that's a whole lot of tackle out there. Holy cow!
Yeah. So
they might bite off more than they could ask for. Holy cow, that's a whole lot of tackle out there.
Yep, y'all hop on my Facebook, Instagram, and there's a discount code there for you if y'all want to use it and hop on. And
what's your Instagram handle and your Facebook handle?
TDW Fishing, Taylor Dean Watkins.
All right, you guys heard it right here. Taylor, man, we appreciate you coming on with us, talking with us tonight. I always love talking to the NPFL men. It's an awesome league, and gosh, that trophy is amazing. I didn't think it's gonna be that heavy. I ain't gonna lie. Holy cow! So, pick it up, Brian, pick it up. Yeah. I'm like, come on, soak up. I said, like, you're like 6'5" and 300 pounds, a giant. I mean,
yeah. I want one of those gold ones.
Here you go.
That's Angler of the Year.
There you go.
All right, guys. Bass Geek got called away. So I'm going to wrap this bad boy up for us tonight. Guys, I was on Facebook a little while ago and saw this event. Thought this might interest some of you all out there on the big South Holston Lake. There is a April 10th, 7:30 to 4, observation knob. Boat check-in starts at 6 o'clock, and it's $500 first place prize. And if you want to know more about this, in East Tennessee Bass Fishing Rodeos, that's where you guys can find that out on Facebook. Monty Marshall, the name. Yeah, for some reason we were talking about that, and boom, there it is. But head on over, check that out. And if you're looking for something to fish and you're in South Holston area, check that event out. But guys, man, really appreciate Mr. Taylor Watkins for coming on and talking with us tonight. Another NPFL 2-time winner. Got a long road ahead of that young man. Lots of more wins I see coming in his near future. So thank you to him again. Bassmasters happening right now. We're going to try to get the winner of the Toyota Series event on here next week. We're going to be working on a lot of great shows. And also, guys, don't forget to check out Let's Talk Fantasy Fishing. If you haven't already done so, head on over and make sure you give it a follow on our Apple Podcast Network. That's where you can go listen to it. Brand new right there. And good luck to everyone playing fantasy fishing this weekend. That's it from me. TheBassCast.com will be on Smithmount Lake this weekend, the Angler's Choice Team Tournament Trail event. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. And that is it. Have a great night. Be safe, everyone. And we'll be talking to you guys again next week right here on Basscast Radio with your host, Brian Carter, and co-host, Hank the Bass Geek.